A lady recently came to me for Shalom Bais. She's having difficulty with communicating with her husband. Serious fights. She even said, okay, recently one night she WhatsApped me and said, Rabbi, prepare the papers. That's it, I'm done. I recently had also another lady actually texted me. She said, I just got into a fight with my husband and I want to know where I could download the get. So, Baruch Hashem, for I said, I don't think you're holding by get, and get usually costs about $1,200. You don't download it from the internet. But the first lady that I mentioned, so she told me, I said, so, when I speak to my husband, he complains. I said, what's the problem? So she said, look, he complains that when he speaks to me, I'm texting someone else. I said, lady, if I wanted to speak to my wife, and each time I spoke to my wife, she's texting someone else, I would also go crazy. So I asked her, I said, turn off the phone, make times. Phone should be on an hour and a half in the morning, an hour and a half in the afternoon, an hour and a half in the evening. I said, this is not a lady that's running any big companies. There's no big shilas coming to this lady. She doesn't work. Good meaning lady, but has friends, family that are calling her from all over the world, but nothing that's going to be life shattering. She said, I can't turn off the phone. Phone doesn't go off. Impossible. I said, you're enslaved. I said, you're a shifcha. I didn't mean it in a derogatory term. I said, you know what? We are all enslaved. In this generation, we're all enslaved by the phone. And maybe she listened a little bit, maybe something went in. It is so difficult. Whether it's an addiction, a pornography addiction, whether other addictions, we are all challenged with addictions in some level. And one of those addictions is the phone. But what's so powerful about addictions that I found in my own life history is that you don't even realize how much we're enslaved to it. I will tell you a personal story. When I came from Israel, I was 12 years old. I came to America. So my parents, I was a little bit of an innocent boy, went to a straight all-boys school. Somehow when I came to America, the way things worked out, I went to a mixed school. And that was probably one of the biggest psychological challenges that I had. And then I went to Frisch. Those who know Frisch in New Jersey. I'm not embarrassed to say, I was in the school, and I was excited because I was going to be at the basketball team. I actually made it to the junior varsity basketball team. But in the middle of 10th grade, I got the kick out. And the principal even takes credit for all my success today because he kicked me out. The only thing is he should have done it much earlier. I was doing nothing. I couldn't focus. I couldn't concentrate. I was in such a bubble. I couldn't see how I'm doing nothing, how much I'm just kicking myself and shooting myself in my feet. I was blinded. My mind was basically on girls and basketball, and that was it. I was joking around like my chavrusa was a chavrusa girl. It's a little bit of very quite challenging. And again, this is not about Frisch. There's obviously some good things that Frisch is doing for people that would end up going to public school and other schools. But a nice, good, innocent boy like me should have been sent out long ago. But let me tell you what happens. Why am I sharing you this story? So I went to a different school. ITT doesn't exist anymore. 10 boys that also had no place to go. Here I'm in this school, and finally I'm actually straightening out. I'm able to see a little bit clearer. And I remember finally I said, I'm going to MTA. I want to be in the basketball team. I want to play in the Madison Square Garden. So there's great stories about my Madison Square Garden experience. But in truth, when I was leaving this yeshiva ITT, there was one Rebbe, and he was running after the car. I was in the car with my mom, and I really was determined. I'm going for 11th and 12th grade to MTA. I want to play basketball. And he was screaming and begging me, please go to Baltimore Yeshiva. Spend your time in Yeshiva. Throw yourself into the learning. And I was listening, but I couldn't listen. So I told him one thing, and I didn't. My story isn't, I had to wait till I went to Israel to finally come back and see reality and be able to pull out of the bubble of what I was involved in. But what I learned from that so many times, there's a Rebbe, there's a mashpia, there's someone that's calling out, that's putting out his hand. Grab it. I have someone that comes to me. I have few Baruch Hashem Talmidim, and one of them, quite on a serious, of any time he'll see that he falls, he comes to me. Like the Rav Nachman says, there's a concept called vidui, lifnei Talmud Chacham. He comes and he says, Rebbe, I fell. And then he gets back. Because all of us fall. We're gonna fall, no matter what the addiction is. But we have to have someone that we go and we connect to and he helps us and gives us a hand. And when he's pulling out the hand and he's saying, try this. I had to convince this person about trying this and that. Follow it. And the Moshe give us siyata dishmai that we should be mitzliach. Take care.